situation, that can't be ignored, people. I'm one of those guys that the hardest part about sitting in this chair with you, and I'm not saying that you just did because you did not. I get misquoted and taken out of context all the time. I have no problem
You get lied
with
about.
anybody. Well, I get lied about every day, and that's fine. And, you know,
I just wanted to
those,
put that up.
those people, they know what they do. I just can't let they lie on me every day. That's fine. That's fine. That comes with the territory. They lie on you too. But anyway, here's the deal. The thing about it, Wendy, is that I'm talking about LeBron James. I am in no way throwing any kind of shade on him. I'm paying tribute to his greatness. He is 37. He just finished his 19th season in the NBA, averaging 30. And he's the only commodity the Los Angeles Lakers have. I would remind everybody that even though in large part it was due to the injuries by Anthony Davis, because if Anthony Davis was healthy, there's no way in hell that I believe the Lakers would have been the playoffs. That is true. But we have seen enough over the career of Anthony Davis, because you know this better than me, because I no longer have to be the insider that I once was. I get a lot of calls and I get a lot of information, but you and Woj and others, y'all live doing this stuff, everything. Thank God I don't got to do that anymore. It's very stressful. Very stressful. You know, it's bad for the boys. It's stressful. Anyway. You know as well as I do, the Lakers can't get anything close to equitable compensation for the talent that is Anthony Davis because of the injury tendencies of Anthony Davis. So you scratch that out. Russell Westbrook, no disrespect to him, I believe he will resurrect himself next season. But he had a bad year this year, the worst year of his career. He's approaching the last year of a deal that's paying him $47 million. And plus they got the backdrop of these press conferences where he's talking about he's going to be just fine, even if they don't win. And he's seen plenty of champions that are less happier in life than him. And he came to the Lakers and he didn't have any expectations, although he's playing for a franchise that has nothing but championship expectations. And then he shows up at the Met Gala the other day because I want everybody to know Russell Westbrook's got a clothing line. That's why he was there. The point is, I wish he would have told everybody that, because that's why people would know he's at the Met Gala instead of looking at him smiling and chilling and dressed in his outfit and all of this other stuff when the Lakers are home and y'all ain't playing. Because you got a whole bunch of Laker fans in L.A. like, damn it, I don't feel this way. I understand what he's doing. But you got a lot of critics that's like, what the hell are he doing? I mean, they lost. Why we see him smiling right now? So you got all of that going on. That's the backdrop of LeBron. So if you're the Los Angeles Lakers and you don't want to replicate what happened in the twilight years of Kobe Bryant, the basketball player, of course, God rest his soul, not here any longer, but the basketball career, when they were missing the playoffs those last 5 years or so, if you want to avoid replicating that, what do? Who's the one piece that you have that everybody in the league will call and say, what you want? What we got to give you for? What you looking for? Who's the one person that has a shot of allowing the Lakers to receive phone calls of that nature? That's LeBron James. Of course we know if he wants to stay, they ain't going to do it. Of course we know, okay, he's LeBron. He's too powerful. You can't just dismiss him and trade him somewhere he wants to go. He doesn't want to go. We know that. But if for any kind of reason whatsoever, he decides that this situation ain't ideal, and the Lakers were willing to say, we willing to move this brother. You got to take Anthony Davis or Russell Westbrook with them now. Who wouldn't call them to get LeBron James, considering the money he would generate for the franchise and what he would do to their stature for the next couple of years? That's all I would say.
Let's put a pin in this for right now. There's still more meat on the bone. Wendy, I want to give you an opportunity to respond, but we're going to get a commercial break, and you will be back with us in just a bit, and we can revisit this and much more, because a lot's happening in the playoffs. Still to come on First Take, they call themselves the Knuckleheads, but they were once one of the most fun duos in all of the NBA. Quentin Richardson, Darius Miles, First Take leads the Suns to their 11th win in a row against the Mavericks, counting regular season games. Booker appreciating the greatness of the point guard.
Growing up, take it back to when I was 5 years old again, but me and my dad watched him play, and he was like, you see how he makes sure everybody's involved, and then he picks his times when. And I've just always admired, the way he does that. He's just in control at all times. He's 2-3 steps ahead of whatever the other team's doing. Just the leadership, that can never go unnoticed when you're talking about this man. Just the way he holds people accountable, will to win. The list keeps going on and on. That's why he has the nickname he does.
I love that appreciation right there. Meanwhile, huge blow for the Warriors. Gary Payton is expected to miss about a month after he fractured his left elbow. Payton suffered that injury in a flagrant foul, too, by the Grizzlies' Dylan Brooks in Game 2. However, there is a possibility he could return to the NBA Finals should Golden State make it. According to Woj, the NBA is investigating the possibility of a suspension for Brooks, with decision likely to come down today. Now, let's have some fun. NBA vets and hosts of the Knuckleheads podcast, Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles, gracing your television screens. Gentlemen, so nice to meet you. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, a couple of things that the audience needs to know. Number one, my man Q Richardson, he's been looking out for me since my days as a newspaper writer. This is my big brother here. I got love for him, all right? And Darius will always hold a special place because he was playing for me when the coach, Stephen A., got robbed because Mike Wilbon and his crew set up, they put the fix in. Now, Q was on that Chicago squad, okay? But Darius tried to hold it down for me. I didn't give him enough help. My bad, D. My bad.
I'm still torn up about that loss, too.
Tell me about it. So am I. Q and them cheated, but we'll get on that
Feels
another
like
day.
revisionist
The fix was
history
it.
to
The
me,
fix
that's
was
what
it.
it
All the Chicago crew. The fix was it. Fellas, let me ask y'all this. First things first. Do you think that what Dylan Brooks did to Gary Payton II warrants a suspension? Q, I'm going to start with you.
I'm not hearing Q's audio.
We're not hearing you, Q. We got to fix your audio. Darius, go ahead. Let's start with you. We'll come back to Q. Go ahead, Darius.
It's tricky. Yeah, that was kind of a bad foul. It wasn't a smart decision to make. I think his team needed him, the situation, the first quarter. It was kind of risky, but he might have to get one game suspension for that.
Yeah, I'm kind of that mindset, too. I mean, I don't want to advocate anybody get suspended. I'm an advocate. I'm a fan of Dylan Brooks. The brother can play. I like his toughness. I like him a lot. But that play, when you knocked him upside the head while he was airborne in today's NBA, you know that's a no-no. And him doing that ain't grabbing the jersey like Draymond. Entirely different and far more vicious play. So I am of the mindset that should happen. Go ahead, Molly. You say?
No, what I was going to do here is I wanted to ask you this, Stephen A. Are you more confident in the Suns or Warriors? I wanted to get your take quickly, and then I want Darius to respond, and we'll work on getting Quentin back as well.
You got to get you. Well, listen, I got confidence. Listen, the Suns, their leadership of CP3 is sublime. Devin Booker's big time. But I ain't jumping off the Warriors bandwagon because they got Clay, Steph, and Jordan Poole. I'm not ready to do that yet. Q, can you hear us now? Can you hear us now, Q?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, there you go. So what's your thoughts about that, Suns or the Warriors in the West?
Who are you more confident in?
Yes, I feel, I got all the confidence in the world in the Warriors, but I mean, the Suns have had that fire about them. I feel like them losing in the finals last year, they've come back like a team on a mission, and I feel like that's their ultimate goal is to get back to the finals.
What about you, Darius? Who you going with?
Oh, yeah, I definitely like the Suns in the situation. I feel like all year they've been playing like a team that went to the championship last year, and I feel like they continue to do it right now. CP3 look like he's in mode, and Brooks is back, so I think it's definitely good for them.
I can appreciate that, fellas, but I mean, damn, it ain't just the Splash Brothers with Steph and Clay. Now they got this brother Jordan Poole, who's capable of pulling up big buckets. That don't sway y'all in any way, Q?
I mean, listen, I think once they get to that, if it's Warriors and Suns in the next round, I think it could go either way. I'm just of the mindset, I love what Phoenix has done as far as their length and their defense, and I feel like that's a big blow. Them
Gary Payton and not having his defensive prowess to be able to go out there and defend a CP or a Booker during that series. So I think the tables have turned a little bit. They didn't get Wiseman back like I thought he was going to come back to the Warriors.
So did I.
But they didn't get him.
Yeah. Darius, let me transition to Memphis because we can't talk like this series is over. Memphis can still win this series. Ja Morant is that dude. There's just no denying it. How, Darius, should we be looking at the Memphis Grizzlies now and their chances of winning this series based on what you saw in games 1 and 2?
I definitely think they got a good chance at winning, but I think Golden State is going to win the series. I think their experience is going to win over that. I wish Andre Iguodala would have kind of worked it out with Memphis because I feel like that's just the missing piece that they need, somebody that's a winner or a veteran that can teach them how to win. I feel like when you're a young team like that, you lose to learn how to become a winner. And I think that's the process they're in now. But I definitely think they're going to make the series a match. But I think Golden State in 6 or 7 is going to pull it out.
Q, what's your thoughts about this series from the Memphis side?
Man, I agree with everything D. Miles just said. I think Memphis is really they built the right way. I feel like they remind me of a young version of our Clippers team, except they winning. They actually making the playoffs and pushing people. But I think they hungry. They not afraid of anybody. They whatever action the other team is about, they respond accordingly. But I do agree with D saying that I think the experience of the Warriors and what they've been through and the championship, credibility and DNA they have, I think that's going to win out in the series.
All right, Quentin and Darius, we're going to take a quick commercial break, sit tight, and then we're going to the east side of things. Still to come here on First Take, Cleveland, this may still be for you. He may have lost his starting job, but someone believes that Baker may be able to return to the Browns after all. Teddy Bruschi joining the show coming up, and it was a dominant win for the Heat, which has us all asking, who's the best team in the East right now? Darius Miles, Quentin Ridge in the future, but it was all Miami who never trailed after the first quarter. Here's Doc on when we can expect him to be back.
I really don't know. I honestly, we talked yesterday, we talked today, new generation FaceTime. I don't know why they FaceTime, but as far as talking, but there's no, he's got so many steps to go through. I don't think he's cleared any of them right now, so we just have to wait and see.
You should have missed this chance to
trade. Back here with us. Hello again, fellas. All right, Darius, I'll start with you. It likely won't happen this season. Let's be honest, it's not happening this season. But do you think Embiid and Harden can win a title together in Philly in the future?
I think they got a good chance. It's hard. You got Giannis and you got a lot of good teams out there. So I don't know. I think it's going to be real hard for them to win a title.
Hold on. Put Darius and Q up on the split screen. You know good and damn well the answer to that question is no. Come on, bro. Come on now. You know, say it, damn it. You got a podcast. Y'all doing big things in the podcast world. You don't hold back then. You ain't going to hold back on first day. You know good and damn well you can't see Philly winning the title in the near future. Not with all these other teams out here and not with the way that James Harden appears to have lost a step. Come on, D.
No, this is a new day and age, and teams be making moves just out the blue, and you never know what move that they gonna make to make them be in a contention in the next couple of years. But they do got 2 good pieces that can start something to win a title, so I just don't want to count them out like that.
Well, is James Harden still the same Q? Is James Harden still saying he's the same dude we've been watching all of these years?
Listen, I'm under the mindset that I want to see him. I'm gonna get to me he deserves the grace as much as he's done and who he is and what he's put in the league. To get off season to get fully healthy and to get fully in shape and to come in the next season and to see how he looks. I'm gonna reserve my my opinion on that until I see him coming to Philly Philly if he signs back there or wherever he's at after a full off season where he's getting himself healthy and getting himself in shape. And then if he's still doing some of the same thing, then maybe I have to agree with that. But I have to wait till after that.
Good answer. Let me explain what my position is about James Harden so we're all clear. The brother can ball. He ain't no scrub now. We're not saying that. We're just saying that he spoiled us with a standard of greatness on the offensive end of the floor that is rare in the history of the NBA. And that dude is not what we have seen since he suffered the hamstring injury last year. in Brooklyn.
Wait though. This is part of that. Like when you talk about what he showed us and how he spoiled us in Houston, we have to take into consideration that he was being coached by my former coach, Mike D'Antoni, and he was in the offense where he had the ball, I don't know how much, but a very high percentage of the time. And I liken that to say, like, Steve Nash won MVP back-to-back in that offense. And he wasn't as offensive-minded as James Harden.
Pause. So what are you saying? Are you saying that if Mike D'Antoni was the coach, that we'd see better offense from James Harden? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not going to get into that. What I'm saying is that if we're going to judge him about what he gave us in Houston, we have to look at all the variables that were there. And I know for a fact that was a huge part of it. Anybody who goes and play, look at what Jeremy Lin did under Mike D'Antoni. He went crazy. So I mean, it's a common denominator with that too. So I think even without him having a hamstring injury, we wouldn't have seen that same James Harden that we saw in Houston because the variables were different.
I gotta admit, that's a damn good answer about you. What the hell's going on? I mean, I have no comeback for that, but I have no comeback for that. Go ahead, Derek. Listen, right now, when you look at Miami, you look at Boston, you look at Milwaukee, who do y'all see being in the Eastern Conference Finals? I'll go with you, Derek. What's up?
I'm definitely going with that boy from the Lou in Boston. You know what I'm saying? I think he's time for him to step up and show the league of what he's doing. And they look good. They playing as a team. Hopefully they get Smart back, and I'll see them in that. But I think with them beat out, Miami is a for sure in the conference finals. And I think it's going to be Boston and Miami.
What about you, Q?
I can't go against it. I think the Boston and Milwaukee series can go either way. The first game had me kind of scared, but they bounced back. Second game, I feel like this going to be a 7-game series. It can go either way. But I think, like you said, Miami has Philly. That might be 4 or 5 games, and that's going to be over. So I think Miami and I'm going to go with Boston with my young boy Tatum. I got to go with Boston.
Wait. So can we go one step further? So say it is Boston and Miami. Who's winning that?
Let's put this one up.
Our heroines were.
I go with that. I think Boston could beat Miami.
What do rabbits, eggs, and flowers have to do with each other?
What's up with the
Science is free. Oh, and before I forget, help yourself to the contents of that chest.
And those guys down there, so it's just overlook that and say it's I don't know. I know what they bring to the table defensively, and that's the team as well. So it's not. I can't even call that right now. I have to see how these two teams finish up in this season. Then I can make my decision.
Well, let me say this. I got nothing but mad respect for Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, and the crew in Miami. My love, however, is for Miami. I mean, it's for the city of Miami. I know my love is for Miami. The respect is for the players. Let's get that out the way. There's a distinction that needs to be made, okay? But get back to Milwaukee and Boston. Here was my worry. Boston came back, major props to them. You got Jaylen Brown playing lights out, Tatum playing lights out. My problem is that seems to be what's going to be required in order for them to win this series, because Giannis and Milwaukee is obviously led by Giannis, bigger, stronger, just they can big boy them. Y'all weren't worried about that after what y'all saw in game 1?
I really wasn't, because every series Jalen and Jason is going to have to, fit the bill. They're going to have to bring everything they're supposed to bring. The other guys got to play well. So they're going to do what they got to do. I feel like they're going to go in there and they're going to get one. I feel like this is their year. They clicking at the right time. They looking like the best team when they playing the right basketball. And it's just not them two. It's Marcus Smart. It's White. It's Harper. They got Williams back. They look real good to me, and I think this might be their year. They can slip on through.
I can't deny that. I mean, Milwaukee does have me worried. Giannis got me worried that I'm going to end up in Milwaukee in June for the second.
Okay, please, have you not learned your lesson about talking about Milwaukee?
I love Milwaukee. I love the fans.
Stop.
I love the fans. I love the people.
I think Chris Middleton, them losing Chris Middleton is really going to hurt them a lot.
Yeah.
By not having him down the stretch. And I feel like with a team like Boston that's really perimeter dominant, that's going to hurt. And I feel like that's the reason that they can kind of slip through there.
I think he might come back later in the series, though. I think there's a chance. if this goes 6 to 7 games, he might be back. But I hear you. I hear you.
Quinn, Darius, this was fun. Thank you guys for stopping by.
Appreciate
and of
y'all,
course, everybody at home, check out their podcast, Knuckleheads Podcast, with the two of them. Good stuff. Keep doing your care.
Thank you.
Still to come on first take. Bad news for Ben Simmons.
Last week, it's just, that's not the reality of where we are. So for me and for us, I'm just going to deal with it day to day.
Stephen A's list is fluid. You know, fluid.
Nobody's fluid.
Life is fluid.
It's fluid. Life is fluid.
Three-time Super Bowl champ Teddy Bruschi. How we doing, Teddy? Good to see you.
Molly, I'm doing great. Great to see you. Stephen A., how you doing?
My brother, it's always good to see you, my man. What's going on?
All right, let's talk some football,
All good.
So, Teddy, still possible that Deshaun Watson will be suspended for some time next season, which would obviously open up a spot for Baker to play. But this relationship seems far gone. Do you think he could still be playing for the Browns in 2022?
I don't see why not. And this is where the team aspect a player feels, I mean, the personal feelings that you may have that were warm and fuzzy for an organization, they end up disappearing, and you end up venturing into this is a business type of deal. And I think that's what Baker Mayfield has to get to, because his plans of trying to play somewhere else and demanding a trade or whatever he demanded obviously failed. The draft is come and gone. They did not respond to his demands immediately, so there he is, still there. Remember the Cleveland Browns. I say he goes back into the locker room. Just go back in there. It is highly likely that Deshaun Watson will face some type of suspension, and that is where Baker Mayfield can go increase his value to a lot of other NFL teams by making the most of a bad situation and showing, number one, that he is healed from his off-season surgery, and number two, he can still play capable football. That would be the best for Baker Mayfield's future, and that's when you start to put on your independent contractor hat. I know this is not my team. I know they don't want me here, but I got something to do for me in my career down the road, and that's where I feel Baker Mayfield can go ahead and benefit himself by going back to the Cleveland Browns and playing some football.
I adamantly disagree with you, and it's rare that I say that way when it comes to substitutions, but here's why I can say it with a smile on my face. I'm adamantly disagreeing with Teddy Bruschi and all that the great Teddy Bruschi has taught me about this. This is the guy that Teddy Bruschi and I have had conversations over the years on many, many occasions, especially when it comes to the quarterback position. You're not just talking about ability, you're talking about leadership. You're talking about setting the example and being able to galvanize the troops around you to give you max effort and to maximize whatever potential that you have. And Teddy Bruschi is somebody that has preached to me on numerous occasions about how important it is for that attribute to emanate from the quarterback position. You're making total sense, Teddy, when you talk about, okay, this was a situation you wanted out, you need to get out, Deshaun Watson in all likelihood is going to be suspended. Even though he has religiously proclaimed his innocence, he has to understand that NFL don't give a damn about all of that. No, you're not going to jail, and there are no criminal charges and stuff like that. And a lot of these cases may be thrown out of court. But what does the NFL say? If you impugn the integrity of the shield in any way, we have a right to bring the hammer down upon you. So considering the headlines that he has made over the last 12 months or so, there's no way in hell that Deshaun Watson is not going to be suspended, in my estimation, regardless of how people may feel about it. So with that being said, one would surmise, okay, Baker Mayfield, you can roll up in there because Deshaun Watson ain't going to be there, and here you are playing for us until Deshaun Watson arrives. Here's the problem. You've already made it clear you don't want to be here. You've already made it clear the reason is because you feel disrespected. You know the heir apparent is coming back that same season, that he's better than you. His resume is better than you. Everybody and their mother is looking forward to him being there instead of looking forward to you being there. And the money that you wanted, he got that times two, because the brother got $230 million. Guaranteed, okay? So when you look at it from that perspective, to ask Baker Mayfield to walk into that locker room and to leave that team for a month, 2 months, or whatever. All I'm saying is that Teddy Bruschi that I know and love would be like, no, That can't work. It can't happen. There's no way that that's a winning, sustainable situation that's conducive to the productivity of this franchise. So again, they didn't let him go, but it's not like they didn't take any calls. It's just that they didn't find enough compensation for him. That's what this is.
Right. That's right, Stephen A., but you use the word sustainable, and this does not have to be sustainable. It's temporary. We need something from you, Lakers, and you need something from us. What you need from us is an opportunity to show the league that you can still play football, and we need you to go out there and win us some games so when our guy comes back, we're in a situation where he hits the ground running and we can go compete for the AFC North. That is what it's all about. I've seen players on my teams in the past. They don't get the contract that they want. They are pissed off throughout the course of the year, but having to talk to them and say, okay, put that over there. Professional athletes have to compartmentalize. They don't want me cool. I'm not going to be here cool. But for me, in my business, I got to do what I got to do, and that is if it's 16, if it's 18, if it's completely to go percent at the beginning and win the job, and show that I'm healthy, that's what I got to do for me.
But wait.
Sometimes, in the rare cases, I know I played on championship teams. I know I played on a lot of them, but still, there are always instances where people do something. I got to look out for me.
Let me ask you a question.
I do this right now. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. How big of a difference is there between Baker Mayfield and Jacoby Brissett?
Right now, I would say Baker would have an advantage, actually, because of the familiarity he has, let's just say, with the teammates, with the squad, with the offense, all of that stuff. He would come in and be ready to go. Jacoby, I know Jacoby Brissett, he's a good player, all right? He's a good team, but competition, you know what I want? I want the walk-on Baker Mayfield to show up. All right, I don't want the #1 overall pick, all of this entitlement and everything to show up. I want the guy that knows he has to earn something again, to re-earn it. And I think that's in him. I'm a fan of Baker Mayfield. I think he can get some things done, but this is a situation where mentally you got to shift to where, team, cool. I know you don't want me, but I'm going to do what's best for me, and what's best for me is actually benefiting you also. So
yeah, and he's auditioning for tomorrow.
My only last comment is this. If there's not a big discrepancy between him and Jacoby Brissett, why bother?
There's a little discrepancy.
So,
if you want to do anything you can,
if it's little, you have enough talent on the Cleveland Browns squad to overcome that little discrepancy to avoid the potential problem that might come along with bringing a guy back into the locker room that has made it very, very clear he doesn't want to be there. And you have made very, very clear that you don't really want him as a part of this franchise's future. It's a two-way street. It's not like Cleveland wants him, but he didn't want them. It's not like they don't want him, but he wants them. Oh, no. Both have said, look, we got to part ways, okay? What? They did it by signing Deshaun Watson, and he did it by announcing before the signing of Deshaun Watson that he wanted out. I don't know how you bring that back into your locker room to start.
Sometimes, like you said, you have to confront that.
I don't know how you do that.
You have to man up or women up in uncomfortable circumstances. Teddy, can I transition here?
Deshaun Watson, a hefty Deshaun Watson suspension that is levied, then these conversations will happen and they will be very real because 8 games is a lot of games where your season could be over. But if you have 2 quarterbacks competing or 1 quarterback that gets hurt and another one gets down, that helps you win, let's say, 5 out of the 8. Of course, I'm speculating here on a suspension. You will get over any type of drama and any type of emotions if both parties are being beneficial to themselves.
Okay, if both parties are being beneficial. Okay.
Teddy, let me ask you this. I wanted to get your thoughts on the Patriots draft. Bill Lackluster, our own Mel Kiper Jr. gave them a C+. Now, Teddy, that was tied with the Cowboys for the worst draft grades for this year. Yesterday, Stephen A., you were off, so I don't know if you saw this. Bart Scott was on the show, and he was arguing that the Jets have now passed the Patriots. It was 2 days ago?
with you.
Did you need to correct me on that?
Yesterday was being doggy, but go ahead.
Your enemies should
Teddy,
always recognize
where would you say the Patriots rank now in the AFC East?
They're still behind Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo, of course, is the class of that division, and to me, they're pretty much a Super Bowl team that can be in the AFC. Come on, Bart. I mean, the Jets have so many pieces that they're counting on, so many young players that they're counting on. The Patriots were a playoff team last year, and the draft, Molly. Okay, to your question, it was another draft with the Patriots completed, and I said, who's that guy? And to tell you the truth, I had that same reaction when they drafted Logan Mankins, a guard no one had heard of out of Fresno State, who ended up locking me up plenty times in practice. So he became one of the greatest, a great NFL guard for the Patriots and then on to the Buccaneers. So hopefully the strange kid turns out to be that, but definitely not a draft that was eye-opening to me.
We got to go to break, so real fast. Is Miami even in the mix at all? Yes or no?
Now I say no, they are not.
Because of Tua's that you got to prove something. Period. No quarterback, no team.
Gotta leave it there.
I wouldn't know.
Oh yeah, Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard out here. All right, Teddy, great to see you. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys.
He'll come on for his take. He scored 80 points through 2 games against the Suns, but it's not the scoring that is Stephen A. concerned about. Luka Doncic, you don't want to miss this. And he didn't play for the court like we all hoped. Now we may not see him on the court for quite some time, with Ben Simmons set to undergo back surgery. How day to address pain located in a herniated disc in his lower back, so essentially he's having back surgery. Surgeons told our Adrian Wojnarowski that Ben is expected to miss 3 to 4 months, but should be ready to return well before training camp. Brian Windhorst back there with us. It's Stephen A. I'm going to start with you. Your question is injury. During this whole process, the Simmons surgery removes pain. Your perception of him?
Not one bit. Not one bit. Because I never said that I don't think what I was I reckon that whatever ailment suffered was preventing him from sitting in the kitchen. I know that, okay, you have a back surgery. That's something that you have to deal with. I'm still with you. I'm still at a loss with you. I mean, everybody think I'm joking. I'm just, I mean, what the hell is this? You're the final one to do. I'm like, you're such a black. How the hell you got a back surgery? What's the stuff that that? What the hell is you doing? I mean, I don't ask personal questions about people, but I don't care about it. I don't get into it. I just want to know how the hell you got a back surgery? You know, and I did put that in room 1 and 2. There is a little bit. I mean, there's I don't know what the hell it is. I hope on a first time like something. Expect the league. Yeah, there's plenty of players that you can't go out and that have ended up having to have one their back. But they play. And then they play and they got injured or whatever. They still on the play through it, and then obviously they needed a surgical procedure. They didn't just sit on the bench for a year and not play 1 second of basketball while following grievances to get back when they were out. The reality is that that's what's really at the heart of this thing. What happens is this. Let me explain this. And again, I'm not saying there was no back injury. I'm not saying that there's no form of procedure going on. They're saying it and I believe them. What I'm saying is this. You, with all these things, that messes up your hope. Then it would have been about you just not wanting to play as opposed to really having a mental health issue that prevented you from playing. So when that came into question, you heard about the back. What did the rest of the world do? Anything about a back before he got put? I didn't hear anything about a back. Did you hear anything about a back? I'm very close. Yeah. I assume physically had they seen an injury here, they would have been either severe enough to be surgery. You wonder if they want to go back to the middle. There's some missing parts of this that we don't quite understand.
back down. So they knew that there was a back issue, but there's a lot of uncertainty. Also, if the back issue was bothering him last fall, you would think that they would bring that up. So I'm not sure about the timeline, but it certainly is head scratching. And it's this, you know, the unfortunate thing about this is, Stephen A., is that a lot of players don't have one back surgery. They have multiple. And so now of course, you know that he will rehab and everything, but you get worried about his health on his back going forward after that.
Well, my point is this. The one thing we're not uncertain about at all is that the brother wants his money, and he's going to do everything he can to get his money. We know that about him, okay? So let's get that out of the way. Number two, we're absolutely certain that he has no qualms about expecting his money, even though he didn't play 1 second of basketball. That's number two. Number three, we know that owners, for the next collective bargaining agreement that's coming up, they're going to use him as an example to highlight how these players, some of them, not most, not all, not nearly most of them, 95% of the league don't have this issue. But there's a few stars who have not prioritized playing. And I got news for you. They only need one player to use as an example to make their case come collective bargaining negotiations. Wendy knows this, Woj knows this, I know this, anybody that covers the sport knows this. Well, they got several examples to point to these players missing games and how they have compromised the collective whole. While Kyrie was sitting there talking about being a martyr, it's tough being a martyr. Let me tell you something right now. Let me see him say that to the players' face when the owners come to the negotiating table and they use him as an example to try to cut the players off at the knees and compromise their bottom line in terms of basketball-related income, using players like that. Let's have a pay-for-play stipulation in place to ensure that these players don't miss games. You hurting the collective whole. And Ben Simmons, nobody, not Kyrie, not Kawhi, no one has hurt the player's case more than Ben Simmons. Nobody. And so that is the reality of the situation that cannot be ignored. I'm not going to question the legitimacy of the back injury. If it's a back injury, if it's back surgery, that's fine. But I know this, we didn't hear anything about a back when you refused to play in Philly. We heard nothing.
All I know is back injuries are terrible. Guess what I'll do Friday, 5:30? Getting microneedling.
All right,
at my chiropractor.
Hold on. Since you brought it up, if you were a basketball player with your back injury and you were making more than $30 million and that was in jeopardy, would you have found a way to be on the court?
Well, I have micro tears.
I just asked you a question. I didn't ask the specifics. I said, would you have found a way to be on the court to get your $30 million? Yes or no?
Well, I want $30 million, yeah. So,
what about you, Wendy? What about you?
But I don't know what it is.
You know, it's not like that. I would say that he seemed like he was really wanting to play for the Nets, and then he couldn't score. I can't get my arms around it today, and this only complicates the situation going forward, quite frankly.
Isn't there one thing that
And I get their arms around that situation. And
now I have that visual in my mind, so I don't even know what I'm going to do about it. I was going to say, he's going to do two steps. You got to be worried about that. Superstar already. But what you've seen in the first two games, is he living up to that phrase?
48.5 and 7.5.
Here it goes.
Because he takes so many steps like this, and it brings the average down. But you look at it, he's averaging 30 points in the series. The only thing is these games are even close to half. And their problem isn't offense, their problem is defense. I've never seen what I witnessed last night in the fourth quarter. I don't know if I've never seen a team just miss 3 shots the entire fourth quarter. They were 16 of 19 from the team. They missed 2 3-point shots in the entire fourth quarter. They went in 9 minutes when they missed 1 shot. How do you win a game like that? Who's going to have to score 6? In the Premier Series, Jim, what happened? Luka missed I think he missed the first 2 games. And Jalen Brunson was sensational. He was giving you 20 tonight. Now he's turned back into
Jalen Brunson, he's giving you 11 points tonight. He's shooting 32% from the floor. Dinwiddie is averaging 9.5 points, shooting 33% from the floor. Yeah, Max Kleber cannot be your second best player. You can't win like that. Yes, Luka is turning the ball over, but he's having to do so much. He has the ball in his hands so much, and they get the key in. I'm looking at this. You're going to lose probably out of 1,000 games, you'll lose 999 of them if you let a team shoot 65% from the floor, 52% from the three, and they score 71 points in the second half. You lose 999 times out of 1,000. Luka is a superstar. There's no denying that. But Luka, one great player, isn't beating the team. We've seen that. Those days of a great player being able to drag his team to a victory because he can score so many points and do so many things. The Phoenix Suns right now, it looks to me that they've got a gear, and they normally push on it in the second half that the Mavs just can't get to. Unless Jalen Brunson, unless Dinwiddie comes along, as Jason Kidd said, he said, well, we can't just have Luka scoring 30. Luka giving you 40. He just needs someone to give him 20. Jalen Brunson, can Dinwiddie just give him 20? The two of them combined for 60. Okay, now we got a ball game. But when they had Chris Paul, I don't know, I can't explain Chris Paul. What comes over Chris Paul in the fourth quarter? Now, we've seen it far too many times for just to be an accident. You saw it against the Clippers. We've seen it against the Pelicans. And here it is again right on cue last night. I don't think he missed a shot. He might have missed one shot in the fourth quarter. And Brooks, damn, he got the fastest season hamstrings I've ever seen in my life, Skip. I mean, Chris Paul was 6 or 7. D. Book was 3 or 3. All his was 3-pointers. Yeah, that's good. This is not on Luka. This is on their defense. If Luka's going to give me 47 and 5, 47 and 8, Skip, I got to win. I got to win some of these games.
Are you finished?
Done.
I am about to launch about how dramatically you and Charles Barkley are overrating Luka Doncic. He is not a superstar by any stretch of the imagination.
If he's not a superstar, there aren't any in the NBA.
Okay, well then there aren't any left.
Okay.
And how dare you call him Baby Bird after you grew up loving Larry Joe Bird of the Boston Celtics?
I did.
Because they shouldn't even be in the same breath. It's almost like putting LeBron in the same sentence with Michael Jordan.
Well, LeBron's already blasphemy. Yeah, you're right. Because LeBron is past him.
Luka is actually a triple threat of a liability because we start with his shooting. He is a sorry shooter, a poor shooter, certainly by superstar standards, from 3 and from the free throw line. It's my turn. I'm about to just nail it to the wall.
Okay.
And number 2, he is a turnover machine. Luka Doncic, I'm going to repeat this twice so everybody lets it sink into their brain. He led the NBA this year in turnovers per game. He had 7 turnovers last night. I'll get to those in just a moment. And finally, you missed the point and the boat on all you were talking about. They got to stop the Suns. Luka Doncic is a disaster of a defender. He can't guard anybody. They attacked him all night long. We knew it all the way back to November 1st of 2019. A game we still talk about to this day on this show because it was your Lakers and LeBron at Luka. You remember that night on a Friday night with Danny Green Memorial Game? Remember this? And what did Kyle Kuzma say after the game? Whoever was guarding Luka was passing the ball. Right. Because they were just hunting Luka. And they were hunting Luka all night long last night. Let's go back to the shooting. What do I always criticize LeBron for? Why do I disqualify from the database? The poor shooting from 3 at the free throw line. Would you believe that LeBron James is actually a little better from 3 at the free throw line than he can shoot the game? He is a career. That's a joke. But Luka, as from in his career, he's a 33.7% three-point shooter. 33.7%. I thought we were talking about James. I didn't know we were talking about overrated. So he's allowed to do superstar for a long time. And Mike is shooting for 35.3%. That was 103rd of 145 three-point shooters in the NBA this year. 103rd, and these Cardinals, man, are superstars, and they're from the free throw line this year. The career 73.7, that's the worst in the world. The this year is all the way up to 74.4. That ranked 91st of 112 free throw shooters in the league. 91st of 112. And you think the Cardinals fans are a superstar? Are you kidding me? Yes, we are by superstar standards. Charles Barkley got this 1.5 of basketball, and Luka actually made 4 3-pointers in the first half. It's to the point now, when he makes one, I say, wow, he made one, because they're rare. He is a 33% career three-point shooter. So he made 4 in the first half, and then what did he do in the second half? He made 1. He scored 11 points in the second half, so he was sensational in the first half. And then Steve said, you know what, that's enough of that. Let's just attack him on defense.
Well, that's what you do with any offensive guy. You try to make him work on both ends of the court.
Time out. Larry Bird made 3 all-defensive teams in his career. Larry Bird averaged 2 steals a game in his career. Luka averages barely 1. Luka is never going to be laughable for him to even be considered.
Well, Larry, he never guarded the opponent to his best player.
Okay, that was there in the game to have it on defense.
I'm not saying you shouldn't steal the ball, but the question was, Shannon, for what you've seen from Luka in the first 2 games, is he living up to the
that's my question too. I get to answer the same question, and I'm saying laughable.
Hold on, so averaging 40, 8.5, 7.5, shooting 54% from the floor, 43% from the three. He
got blown off the floor last night because he couldn't guard anyone.
So he was the only one.
Wait, hold on just a second. I got a stat for you, and this is a little bit complicated, but I am going to read it. This is what happened in the game. You said, let's keep it to the game, so I'm keeping it to the game.
Okay.
This is from Second Spectrum Tracking of last night's game. Doncic was the screener defender on 19 on-ball screens in the second half. This is just the second half, which is the 3rd most in any half in his career.
Right.
The Suns averaged, this is going to be a little hard to sort of process, but they averaged 1.81 points per chance. They almost scored a basket every time
he was in that situation.
1.81 points per chance on those possessions. This is the highest defender involved in at least 15 direct picks over the past 3 seasons. You have to go back 4 years to find a worse defensive performance than what the Suns did to Luka in the second half. It was Book's turn in the 3rd quarter, and then it was mostly CP's turn in the 4th quarter. Hunt him, get him to switch off. Make him switch on to Chris. And you say, how's Chris doing it? It's because Luka was trying to guard it.
So who would guard Chris Paul in the Pelicans field?
I don't care. I'm talking about Luka, not a superstar.
Hold on,
Not
wait a minute.
Not a superstar.
But you make it seem like Chris Paul, this is the first time Chris Paul has done that. Do you remember when he did that to Paul George and Patrick Beverly?
Yeah.
Do you remember that he did it last series?
This was egregious. This was shocking. This was hard on the eye.
Okay. Are you gonna say Joel Embiid is a superstar? You say you go that far?
Sure.
Okay. Joel and I would say Luka, superstar. Jokic is a superstar. LeBron. Okay. Of those coaches, let's just say there's 7 superstars. How many of them can lock down defense like Kobe when Kobe was at his A-base? Jordan when he was at his A-base. LeBron when he was at his A-base. Tell me the other superstars. If Kevin Durant locking people down?
Well, I tell you, I think if they're not to do a deep play, he wins first half. He blocked.
There have been very few times in the history of the game that a superstar was a superstar on both ends. You've got to go back a very, very long way, especially trying to find one guy, large, that can lock it down on one end and then lock it down on the other end. Just to say Luka isn't a superstar because he's not a great defender. We've seen great offensive players, these superstars, but not be up to par. The game of the game is great offensively. It's easy, folks. It's very slow quick. How to get there. When you're a defender and you're slow-footed, you're at their mercy. And that's what his problem is. Because once they put him in the bigger room, the move is over.
Okay, so are you going to amend your proclamation to he's just an offensive superstar?
Superstar. Just how you want to. He's a superstar. 3 guys that just go get the quarterback, they do 3 players, and they don't play the run. LeBron James made first team also, and he was the most we don't want Draymond Green. Luka Doncic, if you had a draft, Luka Doncic will be a top 5 player. He's a top 5 player.
Extremely overrated, hard to win with, hard to overcome on that end of the floor and on the turnover side of the offense. Led the league in turnovers per game. We just last night. We did 7 turnovers just last night. Please, if we could. Sure. Because Shannon wants to stay on the game last night. Here's last night's 7 turnovers. 7. He had 4 in the second half. That started the game. That's how they started. That was their first possession. And I don't know where I'm going to go with the ball, so I think I'll throw it into the backcourt.
Well, that's jumping up in there with no play.
I think I'll throw it over there and throw it out of bounds, okay? You want to talk about green light on offense? He also leads the NBA in usage rate.
Well, we're not surprised by that. Okay. We knew he was going to
lose the ball, and that's just a bad idea.
That's careless. Yes.
And whoops, no. That's Westbrookian, and whoops, it's...
I mean, I don't know how Cam Johnson fall down and just steal the ball.
Okay, so the point is, you realize this man is taking 8.8 threes per game. So let's call it 9 threes per game. Yeah. That's the 7th most in the league this past regular season. Right. 7th most in the league, yet he ranked on percentage 103rd of 145. That is a team-killing stat. I keep giving you the LeBron stat, but LeBron is only 15th most and is 10 slots higher in percentage than Luka. So Luka is hurting his team over the duration of the regular season far more than even LeBrick is hurting his team. Superstar? I think not.
So let me ask you a question. He has the highest scoring average in NBA history, even higher than Michael Jordan.
Phony baloney.
He got it. Yeah. He has it. 33.5, 9 for the rebounds, 9 assists. Yep. That's what he has. Yep. And think about who he got these numbers against. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Patrick Beverly, Mikal Bridges, and Jay Crowder. Are any of those guys all defensive players? Kawhi is a 2-time defensive player of the year, and he cooks him every time. Paul George is a top elite defender. Cooks him every time. Mikal Bridges almost won the defensive player of the year. Giving him work.
Let's see, the Clippers were down 0-2 going to Dallas for a Friday night game, and the Clippers won the series.
Why was it down?
At one moment, Luka was laughing. Ha, 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 I'm scoring on you every time, ha. And guess who had the laugh last? The Clippers.
The man averaged 36. The man averaged 36. What was Porzingis?
Didn't get it home.
Okay, Skip, but you know this. Now, hold on, this is what I don't understand. This is what bothers me about this. People commended Jordan when he was not winning, but he was scoring a bunch of points. They said he had no help. When he got swept by the 86 Celtics, when he got swept again, nobody said, well, he don't have any help. Well, he's scoring 40, Shannon, what do you want him to do? Luka's giving you 48 and 7. What do you want him to do?
Consistency after game, and you would think you'd be talking about on offense, you'd be talking about no help for Luka. We need to do a better job of helping him, meaning Luka. They're bringing him up into every game, meaning on defense they're bringing him up. We knew that coming into the season. They knew he was going to be their target as their offense to Mavericks defense. Yes, he said, we did a better job protecting one another, not just Luka, but we've got to get back to protecting one another for game 3, and that's all about protecting Luka. And I love Book's quote after the game. Devin Booker said of Luka, tough matchup to guard, but he's going to have to guard a bit. I thought that was a great sarcastic he's going to have to guard a bit, or you're going to get sick. Well, you know that's what you do against him. That's what you do against him. When he's going, you got to make it work on the other end. Yes, they're making it take it down for picking roll. They're making it work on the other end. But again, if you let the Suns shoot 71% in the second half, they shoot 84% in the fourth quarter. They had a 9-minute split in the fourth quarter. They missed 1 shot. Ain't no way in hell all the shots on Luka. Can we get anything? Can we get anything from Jalen Brunson? I mean, think about how many shots he had and how many points he had. Look at Spencer Dinwiddie. Look how many shots he had, how many points he had. At some point in time, Skip, I don't care what type of car. If you put your foot on the gas and you got a full tank of gas and you go 100, if your car go 150, you drive at 150, you're going to run out of gas. What they're asking Luka is expending so much energy just to keep this game close in the first half. And they're like, well, what happened to Luka? Hell, he out of gas. He's not in the best shape. I don't care what anybody says.
Luka got to get in better shape. It's as simple as that. But to say that he's not a superstar, Luka Doncic is absolutely a superstar, or there aren't any.
Absolutely not a superstar. And by the way, another quote-unquote superstar was courtside last night. If we could see, your man Odell showed up for this game, and my thought was, well, overrated attracts overrated, right?
I mean, why, you don't want to go to the game? So what's he supposed to do?
He wanted to watch the overrated Luka.
Be in hiding?
Yeah.
The man happy. He there with his girl. He just became a father. He just became a Super Bowl champion. Let the man live the life. Where Baker? Where Baker? Begging for jobs.
He's not begging.
He's begging for jobs.
Somebody should be begging.
He in Austin, Texas. He in Austin, Texas. Begging for a job. We'll work for food. Don't worry about Odell. Odell gonna get a job as soon as he can run. But let's back to the subject at hand. Skip this notion that Luka Doncic is overrated. It's just not true.
I just detailed it for you. Triple threat, overrated. Turnover machine.
What about points?
Defensive liability. Poor shooter. Poor shooter from three and from the free throw line. That's even worse from the free throw line.
So let me ask you a question. How did he become the highest scorer in playoff in NBA history?
Because he leads the league in usage rate, and he took 10 more shots than any other Dallas Mavericks last night.
Who used to lead
10 more shots.
Who used to lead the league in usage? Skip. The best player supposed to take the most shots. Why the hell wouldn't he? Did Jordan never not take the most shots?
Don't put Luka in the same sentence.
Did Larry not take the most shots?
I hope
did LeBron not take the most shots?
I
was going to say KD, but I don't know if KD took the most shots in OKC. But we'll discuss that at a later date. Exactly. But Skip, the best player is supposed to take the most shots. The best receiver on the team is supposed to get the most targets. That's what...
I will give you one thing and one thing only. This man is extraordinary when he gets into the lane. I've never seen anything quite like it because it's almost hard to figure out how physically he's doing it. Because there are plays last night where he's here, there, back, forth, over, under, sidestep, footwork, and all of a sudden he wears his defender out in the lane until he finally just lays it up.
Well, the thing is, Skip, you say how is it physically possible because you're asking that question because he's not physically imposing.
He is
you
not.
Look at it, you're like, how the hell did he hit the guy and the guy's on the ground and he's dislodging the guy? Hold on. Luka like that. When Giannis hit people and they move, you can understand it. You see the caps. When Dwight Howard was in his prime, when he hit players, LeBron moved players. You understood that. I'm looking at Luka, I'm like, dude, how you let the man move?
The only thing I agree with Charles and his comment we just heard to start this segment is that Luka has to be stronger than you think, and it has to be all natural, like God-given strength. He's not in any weight rooms that...
It is Inside the NBA. It is presented by Kia, coming from Studio J here in Atlanta. I got the time of day on the camera now, so it's 12:42 and 37 seconds as we come to you live here on the East Coast. And so is there a time? How about 1:15? Perfect. I think that can happen. Let's get to the highlights.
Yes,
what do you
let's go.
say? Game 2 in Phoenix between the Mavs and the Suns. And
Ernie, I did not know that the Suns have beaten this team 10 straight times.
They haven't. It's 11 now. Oh, I gave it away. Sorry. Spoiler alert. Devin Booker and one.
That's hard to do, isn't it? Yes, it is. No, it's not. To beat the team 11 times, they have all the players.
big gas there. Doing something good for him. Happy birthday, Vito. Yeah, number 30 for Victor. I took a good night, too. At 19 off. Hey, what, he could be a wild card. He's been a wild card. I'm saying he could be a wild card going forward. You know, Victor had 19 off the bench, which matched what Philadelphia had off the bench. In the first game, Tyler Hero outscored the Philadelphia bench. Oh, so. All right, I mean, Tyrese Maxey had a 34-point game. He was trying to keep them within striking distance. Well, he couldn't get that extra pass. It wasn't nice. Well, apparently, Sixers got a bunch of guys named Bronzino on their bench. Another alley-oop. That was a Jimmy Butler. Bronzino getting wide around the corner. Too low, Victor. That's right. Too small. D-Wade, I thought it was Utah. I thought we see often D-Wade with his shirt on. One night, 119-103, you're fine. All right, couple of nuggets on the Heat. 24 and 1 when they shoot 50%, 52 and 6 when they lead going to the fourth. Bench scoring 52 to 19. Then by Oladipo's 19 and Heroes 18. Now, Philadelphia goes home. The question is, okay, Joel Embiid, what's the situation? Here's Chris Haynes.
As the series shift to Philadelphia with Miami up 2-0, the million-dollar question is, will we see Joel Embiid in Game 3?
I really don't know. I honestly, we talked yesterday, we talked today. He looked good as far as